Recently, the world was alarmed over the coronavirus outbreak, taking a heavy toll on global air travel and bringing passengers on the edge with pandemic fear. While flights are suspended to certain destinations, air travel continues within countries like the Philippines. What's it like to fly domestic during the season where threats of an outbreak exist? Find out here at Airline Travel and Airports. I'm back at Manila International Airport Terminal 2, where this time I had to fly domestic in the midst of a coronavirus outbreak happening across the globe. First thing to greet me are hand sanitizers at the entrance, and what I thought would seem to be like a ghost town turned out to be the opposite. As I made my way to check in for my flight, there were still plenty of passengers around, with airport staff placing alcohol containers at the counters as part of safety measures. While there were people wearing face masks, some airport staff just don't have them, as supplies everywhere have been running out. With the extra ones I have, I can't help share some, while also breaking the ice.
Okay lang yan. Nagkakaubusan na ng mask, meron pa naman ako really?
After running down details about my flight, the check-in agent hands me my boarding pass, whereafter I proceed to the gate to catch my plane bound for Bacolod City. But not before I passed through security, where my temperature was checked other than my personal belongings. Once cleared, I found myself eventually wandering at the gates, further observing life inside the airport as it happens. There's quite a lot of travelers continuing on with their journey, with lots of them wearing personal protective barriers such as face masks. It's just during these times that it's better to be safe than sorry. If you'd ask me if I'm anxious about the coronavirus, personally, I'm more worried about cases seemingly forgotten like the Ebola virus, which can be transmitted through close contact with infected people, and HIV, which can be deliberately acquired through irresponsible actions and has no cure to date, claiming thousands of lives over the years. Now, I don't know a lot about coronavirus. Much is still unknown about its transmission and treatment as of this posting, but people do recover. I guess what matters is how we behave as human beings, being able to rise above these problems and still being able to care the way we do with friends and loved ones. As I board my flight, I begin to wonder, are there huge changes happening in terms of passenger behavior and how crew members perform? I'm sure one of those changes begin with me as I reach my assigned seat and begin sanitizing my area. Yup, it's been reported that because of quick turnarounds, airplane seats may not be thoroughly cleaned, with headrests harboring the most germs and bacteria. Although this airline claims of intensive cleaning process after every flight, it's still best to make sure by further sanitizing the area yourself. Okay, that includes lavatory door handles frequently used by passengers. Now, I don't mean to disinfect the entire cabin with my small bottle of sanitizer, but an effective way to fight off the virus is always thoroughly washing your hands. That's right, simple as that. Now, once I've done my part of hand washing, it's time to get back to my seat. Now, one thing I remembered is that people have been known to change babies' diapers on tray tables, among other nasty stuff found there like chewing gum. So back to further sanitizing I go. It's during these times that an alcohol sanitizer can be your best friend. Another thing I noticed is that reading materials are now gone from all the seat pockets, which made me wonder until they gave out this quick announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of health and safety, our pillows and blankets are undergoing sanitation. Baskets will not be available on this flight. Likewise, magazines and newspapers are temporarily removed. Thank you for understanding.
Shortly after, our plane begins its pushback, and we were soon rolling off, with our aircraft making its way to position at the runway. But we couldn't take off just yet, as we had to line up like the rest of the planes behind us, waiting for our turn. Soon as we got our chance, we were speeding up in no time. We were quickly up in the air, but it wasn't a smooth ascent as we were shaken a bit by turbulence, that it took a while before seatbelt sign was turned off. This usually happens as planes pass through the clouds, which have varying air densities, creating a bumpy and inconvenient ride. While seated, all I can do for the meantime is to observe what's around, wondering if the air inside the cabin is safe. Well, according to crew members, all of their aircraft are equipped with high-efficiency particulate air filters. Now, those are densely matted fibers installed in their aircraft which trap dust, dirt particles, and airborne microbes that also help protect against coronaviruses, making the cabin air environment safer. Now, you might ask, what's with the coronavirus that brings so much fear? Well, it's been reported that it's quite similar to cold and flu viruses, presenting the same symptoms when acquired, such as fever, dry cough, runny nose, and fatigue. But coronaviruses involve severe symptoms, especially on people with weak immune systems, like difficulty in breathing, which can be very fatal. Meanwhile, with a distance away from other passengers, I thought of moving to one side of the cabin and sanitizing the seats so I can settle there a bit to take a look of what remains after the Taal volcano eruption that happened last January. Yup, that's Taal, a volcano within a volcano that caused some havoc in the area some time ago. From what was then seen as a lush green island inside the lake, now happens to be a desolate area of ash. As I look at the barren area of Taal volcano, it got me reflecting about how the year 2020 started with unfortunate events. Volcanic eruptions, Australian wildfires, trouble in the Middle East, coronavirus, not to mention the snacks in this airline becoming smaller and smaller. One way or another, the outbreak really has serious effects, especially in the airline business. Anyhow, back to coronavirus outbreak. So it's already around. What now? It's been a disruption to many in terms of business, health, and everyday life. The virus has slipped through borders faster than we thought despite meticulous precautions. Although there have been unpleasant incidents happening, I still notice that there's always something good emerging from all this. This pandemic hasn't only started to teach people to be more cautious about contracting strange diseases, but has also broadened our outlook. That whether a disease originated from some country or elsewhere, it has taught us how to behave and support other people, to know the facts first before we react, and how we become caring humans to one another while clinging to some form of hope. You see, this is not only a test of how we overcome an outbreak, but also how we win as humans caring for one another, regardless of nationality, race, gender, social and economic status. After all, problems such as epidemics and disasters come and go. At the end of the day, what matters is how we are towards one another, especially during these trying times. And speaking of seeing the good in many things, a crew member happens to stop by to hand me a surprise. Not expecting such treat, this just made me excited to see a different kind of good, the ones that are inside the bag. It's nice to know that despite the situation, people can still be nice. I guess whatever you share, like the mask I handed to a check-in agent earlier, comes back in the form of a bigger blessing. Anyhow, we were approaching Bacolod city, flying over what used to be the old airport located at the Sengkang district. After passing over the city, we flew a bit more further and descended towards the new Bacolod Silay International Airport. Upon landing in Bacolod, I guess viruses isn't an immediate concern by the crew, but rather on passengers who can't comply to safety procedures while our plane's still moving fast along the runway. For whatever reason this passenger had to be walking along the aisle at this time, it's nice to know that PAL crew members are quick to assist their passengers in getting them back to their seats. It's always safety first, and instead of sharp reprimands from the crew, it's always that gentle reminder with a touch of compassion towards elderly passengers. Meanwhile, if you'd ask me if it's necessary for me to travel during these times, well, these are the few times I'll be flying to bring stuff to sell back home. It's business as usual, so I can save up for the rainy days ahead, so to speak. If you'd ask me if I'm scared of the outbreak, honestly, me and my fellow nurses are not, as we know that fear causes panic and confusion, and that an effective way to fight it off is simply through good hygiene and safety precaution, along with maintaining a good immune system through proper diet and restful sleep. What's rarely being reported in the news is that people do recover, and whether there are outbreaks or none, life still goes on for the rest of us. As I get to arrivals, it's pretty much the same. People gathering their luggage, meeting loved ones afterwards, and getting a ride to wherever they need to go. This time though, they're much more careful with safety in mind thanks to public awareness and information spread through channels like social media. With subscribers and travel buddies based in Bacolod, I'm accompanied to haul in products that I'll be bringing home on my return flight. Other than my job, this is one of my ways to make an extra income, getting products from the places I go to and selling them to friends and colleagues soon as I return. I'm just fortunate to have subscriber and travel buddy Arnold, who has been very supportive of my sidelines for years now, and that I'm very grateful to people like him for giving me opportunities like this. Once my boxes have been secured, it's time to hang out somewhere for a bit before returning to the airport in the evening to catch my flight back to Manila. Vlogging in one of those seasons that test the strength of humanity, this is Mitch Young. Thank you very much for watching.